everybody. It's Tuesday. Somebody said earlier they thought it was Wednesday. I kind of did too for a minute. I don't know why. Probably because I'm like fucking super tired again. I woke up at 3:30 in the morning and I couldn't go back to sleep. So, yay. So I've been up all this time. But yeah, so yeah, it's Tuesday, like I said. We're actually doing a matinee today because I actually did watch a new movie last night. You didn't like it though, did you?
No, I didn't care for this movie.
It was, you know what? Okay, so this movie, I actually saw the trailer for it probably like a week or two ago when I was looking through all the new movies that were on like Amazon Prime and stuff. I was like, oh, that looks like a possibility, you know. Does it look like an interesting kind of, monster movie? It's sort of like a Wendigo type of movie. And so finally last night I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll just pull the trigger on it. Now I will say that this came out in 2020, written and directed by Bruce Wemple. He had done another movie called Monstrous, which sounds awfully familiar, but I don't know if I've seen it or not. I may have. But this one, it's kind of like, I didn't know if I was going to like it either, like for the first 5 or 10 minutes. But then after that, it kind of like sucked me in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was one of those ones where it just kind of like, at first I was just kind of like, I was kind of ambivalent or I was like on the fence about it. But then after a while, I started getting into it. So basically the story of this one, it's set up in the Adirondacks. So it's in the wintertime. So the cinematography is like really, really nice. If you kind of like horror movies that are set in the winter, it's all snowy with all the dead trees and stuff. So it's really pretty. So it's these two guys named Gus and Adam. And one of them is getting married. So the other one kind of takes him on this hike up in these mountains, like as a bachelor party present type of thing, because that's something that he's always wanted to do. Now, when they get up there, they are at this cabin, which I guess is at the base of one of the trails or whatever, an Airbnb, whatever it is. And like the guy that owns the cabin seems like he has a lot of stuff about the Wendigo, or he's really into like the Wendigo legend. So they kind of talk about that and, you know, how if like back in the old days, you know, Native American legend was that if you were a cannibal or you were like a really selfish motherfucker or whatever, it's like you could either turn into a Wendigo or get taken over by a spirit of a Wendigo, essentially. So it so happens that Adam and Gus, they drink a lot this one night, and then the next day they kind of go out on their hike. And this other dude that was staying at the Airbnb, who's like this total fucking druggie, he gave them some psychedelic tea that's just got like LSD and ayahuasca and just like all the hallucinogens in one tea. So they decide that they're going to drink the tea. Now, after that, one of the dudes starts seeing, is that Pokey?
Yeah, it's beating on the door.
She's beating on the door. You don't close the door. I'm sorry, Pokey. Come on in.
Come on.
It's okay.
She walks in. What the hell are you hiding in here? Nothing's bad going on, Poke.
It's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they trip balls one night, and then one of them starts seeing creepy shit out in the woods, like Wendigo kind of shit. And then I don't really want to spoil it, but there's one there's one thing that happens that I wasn't actually really expecting, and I think that's when I was like, okay, you got my interest now, because it wasn't that far into the movie. And so this thing happens, and then from then on, it's kind of like a hallucinatory. I'm not really sure what it is. So I'm just saying that if you look at the trailer kind of makes it look like more of a straight up monster movie, which it has monsters in it. The monsters actually kind of look like the monsters from The Descent a little bit. At least kind of the Wendigo foot soldiers, I guess they are. Because they only show the Wendigo like from far away, and he's just got like, and he's just this creepy silhouette like with glowing eyes and stuff. But it's not exactly, it's kind of more like a psychological horror movie. But they kind of leave it ambiguous as to whether the monsters are real or not. Like, they totally could be, or it could just be that dude, like, having a super bad trip and, like, he does all this shit and, like, he's seeing them. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's something that happens toward the end that leads me to believe that the Wendigos were real, but you could read it either way. So, like I said, go into this as more like a psychological horror movie where maybe the monster is real or not. But I don't know. Like I said, it took me, a few minutes to get into it. But after they tripped balls and then that shit happened, I was like, all right, I'm on board with this. So it's like, it goes back and forth in time. You're not really sure what really happened or what in the dude's imagination and shit like that. But overall, I don't know. I ended up like really enjoying it. I think it was like pretty short. I think it's only 88 minutes long. Like I said, I think this is Bruce Wimple's maybe second movie. I think he made one called Monsters, but I don't remember if I saw it or not, even though the title looks familiar. It's on Amazon Prime, free if you have Amazon Prime subscription, and I think it's also on Tubi, so it's free for everybody. But yeah, not a bad little flick at all. Like I said, just don't go into it expecting like a traditional monster movie, because it's not quite like that, but it does have kind of more of like a trippy hallucinogenic kind of thing.
It's well made.
Yeah.
They shot it out in the snow, which is like the hardest place to shoot.
Like I said, it's upstate New York somewhere.
And it looks like they're goddamn miserable out there. You know what I mean? It's shot on location, so I'll give it credit. It had good acting.
Yeah.
The story's not bad. It's just not my cup of tea. It's dialogue driven. It's, for me, I thought it was kind of slow. Just wasn't that fun to watch. There was some kind of creepy imagery. There was stuff that happened in it, but by the time all that kind of stuff happened, I didn't really care anymore.
Yeah, he had checked out by that
I was
point.
like, but there are certain people that like these kind of movies. Like I said, cinema is just a thing of opinion. Depends on what your tastes are.
Well, pretty much all entertainment.
Not to my tastes, really.
Yeah, which, like I said, but I ended up enjoying it, but it did take me 10 or 15 minutes to get into the groove of it. You know what I mean? And then I was kind of like, all right, I'm on board with this. And then I thought it was kind of cool. But like I said, it's kind of ambiguous, so don't like expecting, oh, the monsters are real, or oh, the monsters are not real, or what I mean? So, and it just kind of jumps back and forth, and you don't really know what's real or not. It's kind of like tripping balls yourself a little bit. I don't know what I'm thinking about it.
I'm kind of too old for this.
He's too old for this.
Too old for this shit. Well, okay. The characters they were just the kind of guys I don't know. I'm talking about. To me, they were kind of yuppie-ish.
They were a tad, yeah.
And I don't really care.
One was kind of yuppie-ish, and the one was kind of bro-ish.
Yeah.
But the bro-ish guy, I mean, he kind of got his comeuppance a little bit, I guess, for being that way.
Kind of came across as kind of just mainstream kind of urban New York type guys. Not really urban, but more like suburban and dudes that went to college and shit. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
He likes to shit on people who went to college.
No, that's not what it is.
Like
it's
me.
Just, that's not what it is. Just whatever.
Louis says, I saw a pretty good movie on Amazon a couple weeks ago called The Silencing. That is actually on my list of ones to watch. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll talk about that one on the next matinee, which is like Sunday or Monday or whatever. So this is kind of short. So do you actually want to talk about, we started rewatching Spartacus season 2 last night.
Yeah, it's a lot better than I remembered.
It was actually. It's weird because we watched, I remembered a lot of shit from the first season.
I remember
rewatched that.
I remember loving both seasons, 1 and 2, but seeing it again, they were even better than I remembered.
Yeah, it's really weird because he told me, he's like, no, we watched the whole second season. Because I was like, I had a weird thing that's like, I thought we started watching the second season and we didn't like it or we didn't finish it. No. But he's like, no, we finished it. But it's just that I didn't remember. All I remembered about it literally was that it was like a prequel. Like it was Batiatus and his wife, and it was like before Spartacus came.
And how Batiatus and that Ludus, how it became what it was.
Right.
And it was kind of like the origin story for all that. And knowing the prequel thing, I think knowing how the story ends, you go, oh, okay, yeah, all right. It makes a lot more sense.
That's why that was like that.
Which is kind of funny because in season 1, certain characters appears and there's already grudges. You know some shit went down, but you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the first season was already written and they just produced season 2 first and swapped them around. Because it doesn't really make sense why season 2 is a prequel. It just doesn't. It's like they were forced to do that. And I think maybe they were because the lead dude, Spartacus, came down with cancer in real life.
Yeah.
So what did they do? Did they say, hey, let's go back and do that. Let's go do that scrapped season 1 we planned on scrapping. Let's go back and do that. Let's do that next and see if this dude recovers. You know what I mean? To buy him extra time, maybe.
Yeah, because he hadn't like come into the picture yet.
Right, because he wasn't in the picture yet, so you didn't need him for all those shots. All right, yeah. And it makes you wonder if they did a prequel to see if the star was going to recover from cancer.
Well, now I'm kind of gonna have to like look that up because I'm kind of curious, because I'm like,
Yeah.
the writers on this, if they indeed just like did the first season and then it was successful and then they're like, well shit, let's do a prequel for the second, then they kind of just went back and wrote and filled in all the gaps
Yeah.
and stuff, then they did a really good job.
Yeah, and then season 3 is the sequel to season 1, not season 2. And you see, we started watching season 3, but I had forgotten what happened in season 1.
1, yeah.
So
That's what I was thinking of.
that's
We
what you're
actually got
talking
to
about.
season 3 and we
Yeah.
were like, wait, what the fuck is going on? Who's this now?
We see some of the cast had changed.
Yeah.
They had a new Spartacus,
Well, yeah,
and
obviously.
and I couldn't get used to him. And some of the people that we were really used to in the show had been killed off
yeah.
in season 1. All right. So people had been killed off. So it was kind of like an all new cast with a couple of the older ones still in there. And the situation had totally changed. They weren't in the gladiator business anymore. They were in a slave revolt, getting ready to try to overthrow Rome.
Yeah, because at the end of season 1, there was like a big slave revolt where Spartacus and everybody like were like, fuck this place.
The story of Spartacus, a lot of it's legend, but it's kind of legend handed down through Roman history. It was something that did happen. There was a gladiator, evidently named Spartacus, who did lead a slave rebellion, and they did defeat a couple of Roman armies, but eventually they were defeated.
Yeah.
So this is based on that. But there's so much detail in this, you know what I mean? They're making it up, but they're fucking great.
Yeah,
It's
the
fucking
second
great.
season I've noticed is a lot bloodier and a lot smuttier than the first one. I mean,
Yeah.
the first one was pretty bloody and pretty smutty, but the second one, I think we watched like the first 3 episodes last night, and then I was maybe 2 or 3, I can't remember. And I was like, holy crap, I had forgotten like how much gorier and like fucking.
It's pretty accurate to Roman culture from what we know of it.
Yeah.
Certain things in the fashions, of course, they're kind of dressed up. They made some of the gladiator armor and the weapons look kind of better than they actually looked in real life, from what we know. Certain things like statues, they showed a lot of statues, and they're in the rough. They're in marble, which that's not how Romans displayed them. They painted them. So there are certain things about it that are not totally accurate, but it doesn't matter. They're just trying to show you a cool ass movie.
Well, and you don't want things to stand out that'll
Right.
take you out of the fiction. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? People are used to seeing Roman statues being like white marble. They're not used to
Yeah.
seeing them painted. And if you were
Yeah.
painted in the thing, it's like people be like, "What the fuck's up with
Like,
that?"
what the hell's that?
Then you
Also-
lose track of what was going on in the plot.
what we know of Roman hairstyles, they weren't all that cool looking.
Yeah.
The Romans didn't really have good taste in hair. You did see a few cool haircuts, you know what I mean, with the women, and a few with the men. Those are like the real famous ones that we know of. But there were also a lot of other statues throughout the years that just had some god awful fucking hair.
Yeah.
Just weird shit that they wore. But it's still cool. I mean, I think it does kind of express what Roman culture was like. What their moral values were. And some people say, well, if you want to call them moral values, they were moral values. Rome was basically one big fucking mafia, and that has its own moral values. That you're supposed to protect people in your family, and allies of the family. You're supposed to hunt down and punish any enemies from other families, as long as they're not above you in station. But they did that too, and that's in this series. They were getting out of line and fucking assassinating people in families that were in higher rank of them, which they're not supposed to do that.
Yeah. Well, I kind of feel like, well, the thing about it, now that I'm thinking about it, it could be that the second season was a prequel because the first season, everybody liked Batiatus so much.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, we need more of that.
That dude knocks it out of the park. That actor.
I love that dude. He's like a terrible, terrible person.
Yeah.
But it's like
everything's about Roman rhetoric and fucking treachery to fulfill ambition.
He's a great character.
Yeah, and he's great. He's fucking. Is he good? No,
No.
no, he's not. But that's not what Romans weren't trying to be good. They were trying to be great. They were just trying to achieve dominance and wealth and high status and honor. They called it honor, But then there's another guy in there who's a Syrian gladiator who ends up, his name's Asher. And he ends up kind of becoming the special operations dude for the family that owns him. He's a slave. But he's committing all kinds of assassinations and breaking all kinds of laws and doing everything to get the damn House of Batiatus to rise. So in a way, he's kind of a lot like that family's version of a fucking 007 or a fucking CIA agent or somebody who's, and before his ass gets killed, by one of the other gladiators talking about that he had no honor. He goes, "What are you talking about? This entire fucking household is built upon what I've done. I my honor is way above yours," all that kind of shit. So there is alternate ways of looking at things, alternate values. So that's one of the things I liked about it. You know what I mean? The Romans did have a very flexible way of looking at right and wrong, and very kind of mafiosi, So I learned a lot from it, though. It's good.
He learned a lot.
I learned a lot from that fucking video. It's like, yeah, that's right. I didn't look. Yeah, it's a good idea. Just shit like
Plus,
that.
Lucy Lawless is in it, and it's always nice seeing her. So that's again. It was we needed more of Batiatus and Lucy Lawless' character.
There's lots of nudity, but it's kind of stylish in a way. There's lots of fucking raw sexuality and threesomes and shit. And of course, they're all
live action porn.
Yeah, live action porns that they want some porn. You just bring some fucking beautiful slaves and have them have sex and just sit around and talk about it and jerk off and shit. They didn't have any kind of problem with that. They were just, and evidently, that's from what we're left from history. They were like that. And the more wealthy you were, the more apt you were to be like that, which that kind of stands true today.
Well, yeah, like I said, because the more shit you get away with.
More shit they got away with, the less rules they had to put up with, and they definitely didn't have to deal with law enforcement. And that was the same way in ancient Rome. Rich families didn't worry about law enforcement. Nobody enforced laws on them, really, except families that were above them, and only when they fucked over people richer than them. That's really what it was about. If you fucked over people richer and more powerful than you get fucked up. They had patrician families and equestrian families and stuff, which is their version of nobles and knights. Just a good series, real good. We haven't really seen season 3 and 4 yet, though.
Yeah.
But now that I'm more familiar with season 1 or 2, I think season 3 will be easier to understand what had happened.
Yeah, because we'll remember everything.
More. I was kind of overwhelmed by season 3. I was actually overwhelmed by season 1 and 2.
I think it had been a long time since we had seen, season 1, obviously, because season 2, like I said, was a prequel, so it had been like 2 years since we had seen.
Yeah.
So I had forgotten like what had happened. I forgot who everybody was. I had forgotten everything. Louis and Amanda said too that HBO has that show Rome. That's actually
everybody people saying about it. Well, I'll check
that. It's actually better than Spartacus.
Okay, we'll check it. Yeah. This is one of the first. This series is old. It's one of the first of the really good new series.
Yeah, I think the first season came out in 2010, 2011, I want to say.
I think
something
it was older
like
than that, wasn't it? Wasn't it 2008?
No, I'm pretty sure the first season was either 2010 or 2011.
Yeah, it was when streaming services first really started to roll.
Because I thought that we saw the first season on actual cable TV.
Yeah.
On Stars, right? Because it's a Stars show.
I think we saw it on Netflix.
Well, maybe we did.
I think we saw it on Netflix.
So maybe we saw it a couple years after it had been out.
Yeah, it had been out for a year or so.
Okay, so we must have seen it on Netflix or something then. It's on Amazon Prime now, but
yeah, I'll check Rome out too. I saw clips from Rome. It looked more high end.
Well, HBO, they're kind of
look more expensive.
Premium.
This one gets the job done though. It looks good. It's kind of like they try to do some shit like out of 300 and stuff every now and then, because that was a big influence at that time. But I just like the acting, like the story. Fucking Lucy Lawless is, I don't know, about 50 in this, and she just fucking looks fantastic.
I love all her wigs.
Yeah.
And I love all her outfits.
She looks great nude too. She looks really good. She has a good fucking figure for
lots of naked ladies in this.
Lots
of naked dudes in this too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Naked everybody.
She's about 50, I think, and she fucking got the body of fucking shit. Somebody in her 20s maybe.
Yeah, she looks fantastic.
Great. Yeah.
Like I said, somebody mentioned she was on Ash versus Evil Dead too, and she was also amazing in that.
Yeah.
Man, I need to rewatch all 3 seasons of that one of these days. I fucking loved that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the part where fucking in season 2, there's this rich bitch that they know who fucking runs through husbands, just spends up all their money. She does nothing but marry old guys.
Old rich
dudes, and spends up all their money.
When like, they died.
And then they die, and she's broke. And they
gotta find another one.
Yeah, she talks her way into their damn house and tries to help them make a bunch of money.
We were having all kind of fun, like fucking talking.
Yeah, talking about that. She
like,
just
can
talks
I crash
her way.
on your couch?
Yeah, can I crash in here? You know, the next thing you know, then she's trying to seduce all these fucking rich dudes and trying to sling money their way to pay for her fucking couch surfing, and then she tries to pay it back with a fucking threesome. She starts moving in on fucking Lucy Lawless, and then they start turning on Batiatas because they had this big fucking score where they scored fucking. Well, it was a sale and the permission to go into the bigger arenas and stuff.
The Primus, yeah.
Yeah, and fucking Batiatas was like, he sees it going down between the two, and they turn on him. He's like, oh yeah,
right.
That was a great day for him though, because they fucking got all that money.
Yeah.
And she brought that opium from Syria.
Yeah.
Remember that? And they were like, oh, I hadn't had this in a long time. They were fucking drinking opium. Laying around being slutty. Fucking funny, man.
Laying around being slutty.
Yeah, it's a great series. I liked it.
It is super fun.
Yeah.
We were having a good time with it last night because everyone is just so bitchy and backstabbing.
Oh yeah,
it's
treacherous and shit.
It's fantastic.
The only people that are honest are the slaves and the gladiators for the most part. About half the slaves and half the gladiators are pretty honest. The rest of them, the richer they are, the more treacherous they are, and that's the way it really is.
Checks out.
Yeah, checks out. Yeah. And Roman historians basically said the same thing. It's because you just could not acquire power without fucking people over and without double crossing and cheating, and none of them played by the rules. They had their own rules. They were like mafia rules. That's how they. So natural selection favored people who were fucking psychos.
One of my favorite things,
I believe.
One of my favorite things about the series too is that technically it's funny because everybody does this underhanded shit. And everybody knows that everybody does this underhanded shit, but like you're not allowed to talk about it.
No, it's impolite to bring it out.
So it's like, so when they have these conversations, everything is like these little barbed, sarcastic kind of like fucking shit. Like nobody gives because it's like, look, I know you're fucking me over, and hey, you know, he's fucking me over, but you're not allowed to like say it out loud. It's
then
like,
there's also
really
these
funny.
like innuendos and undertones and undercurrents of trying to promise something to somebody that you know they might have a weakness for something, like weakness for fucking. Like it's a dude that has weakness for fucking strong dudes. Like he's gay, but he tries to keep it fucking under wraps and shit. So remember that they did that. They did that to that dude last night.
Yeah. They
thought that she was moving in on the dude. No, fucking she knew that he was fucking gay.
Yeah.
And they didn't know that until the end. But it's all kind of it's a cool flick.
Yeah, we're gonna have to watch some more of that this evening.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else that we need to discuss?
No, let's go ahead and shut it down. We got to fucking do the shirts. And
we got to print these t-shirts.
Print up shirts for fucking Bee's Nest and fucking send them out to the damn.
Gotta go to the post office.
Gotta go to the post office.
That's not
ship
that far.
them out.
Yeah, we'll get that done this afternoon. But yeah, so we will be back tomorrow for our Wednesday party stream without the laser because it really does seem like the laser was what was causing the problem.
Yeah.
Because ever since we've been streaming without the laser, I don't think it's shut down a single time.
It was that laser display back there.
It was too much like information.
Too much data trying to keep track of all those
My little streaming
dots.
thing was like, I can't take it. So
reading everybody's
live and learn.
Centurion is pretty good. Badger says Lucy Lawless is a good sex education teacher. They're saying Louis said that Rome is great. I'm gonna check out Rome. As soon as I get done with this,
a lot of people have recommended that. So it's like,
let me see.
Lucy Lawless is 53.
She's 53. Okay, so she would have been in her 40s.
Yeah.
Okay, probably about 40. Probably about 43, 40s.
Yeah, I guess like mid-40s.
I've seen her recently, though. She looks the same.
Yeah, I don't really remember her looking all that different like the last time I saw her, which wasn't that long ago. Yeah.
All right, they're saying nice chat. Okay, we'll see everybody tomorrow.
All right, tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have no idea what we're going to be talking about. We'll figure something out.
Yeah.
And we'll have a drink and hang out with you guys.
Yeah.
So thanks everybody for dropping by, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.